Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be comparing the all-new Chevy Silverado Trail Boss to the Chevy Silverado ZR2, and we're basically going to answer the question of if you should pay the extra money for the ZR2, or is the Trail Boss going to be enough? And by the way, we're using a 6.2 Trail Boss so that both the trucks will have the same powertrain in today's video. But before getting this video, as always, if you're going to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. And then if you want to see more videos like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Let's get into it. So starting under the hood of the Silverado Trail Boss, we have a naturally aspirated 6.2 liter V8 that puts out 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. Now you can also get a 2.7 liter turbocharged engine with the Trail Boss. You can also get a 3.0 Duramax diesel and then a 5.3 liter V8. So you got engine options. Now when it comes to the ZR2, it has that same 6.2 liter V8 that I just talked about. That is the only powertrain available with the ZR2. I think that Chevy should at least offer the diesel powertrain, the 3.0 Duramax, that puts out 305 horsepower and then 495 pound-feet of torque, because, you know, frankly, that's just a solid offering for what the ZR2 provides. Now, going over to the front end of the Trail Boss, first off, we've got about 10.9 inches of ground clearance because it actually has a 2-inch suspension lift from the factory. Now, it's got the 6.2L badge there with the little giant hood bulge there in the center, and then you guys can see the front end actually looks really good. Nice daytime ring lights, everything's pretty much blacked out, including the Chevy bow tie. You got the red tow hooks to signify it's a Trail Boss. You guys can see the fog lights there at the bottom. But notice that bumper, not exactly, you know, off-roady in terms of the look. Do have skid plate protection underneath. And overall, I think the Trail Boss looks really good. Now, comparing that to the ZR2, you can see that there's a lot of similarities. And by the way, ground clearance in the ZR2, 11.2 inches. That's just because the ZR2 has slightly larger tires. Notice the hood, pretty much identical with both of the trucks. Even got the same little bulge there. And then you can see with the lights, similar system. But notice you got the little LED light there on the grille too. You got the flow tie with the ZR2. That's something that's unique to it. And then you guys can see the tow hooks actually are a little bit different in terms of the overall shape. And then I just got that big bash plate underneath. And then you can see how the bumper has been sculpted. That's actually to help out with approach angle on the ZR2. So a little bit more set up for off-roading compared to the Trail Boss, and you know, that's where the extra money goes, right? And then popping here to the side of the Trail Boss, this one has the 18-inch wheels. You can actually also get 20-inch wheels on the Trail Boss. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you can. And with the tires, they're like 32s roughly in terms of the size. And then you guys can see here with the suspension, again, you got that 2-inch lift, and then notice the cool Z71 decal there. And then again, everything's blacked out on the side. And of course, you got to have your Trail Boss decal there on the back. Now you do have Rancho shocks with the Trail Boss. Very important thing to mention with this comparison. And notice the side view looks great. I feel like the tires look a little bit small on the truck, but other than that, everything else looks really good. Now you guys can see 18-inch wheels here, but again, 33s. So that's the biggest difference, is the tires are a little bit bigger here on the ZR2 compared to the Trail Boss. And then the wheel design also looks a little bit different with the truck. And then same 2-inch lift, just like the Trail Boss. And so it's kind of just like a beefed up Trail Boss, right? That's really what the ZR2 is. And then notice everything's kind of like blacked out there on the side. Now this one has some aftermarket side steps thrown on it. Those don't come, it doesn't come with those from the factory, if you guys are wondering. Those would kind of get in the way of breakover. Now, Multimatic shocks, 3-chamber system, and all you really need to know is these shocks are way better than Rancho shocks. They can handle high-speed off-roading, low-speed off-roading. They just absorb any sort of compression way more than those Rancho shocks, so that's a big part of the extra money that you're paying for the ZR2. And then of course you got the exhaust tips that are hidden underneath to help out with departure angle. And overall side profile, you can see with the fender flares that have been added to the ZR2, kind of looks a little bit beefier, but I think both of them look good. Now here's the key fob. Notice you got like remote start, tailgate drop down, and I actually really like Chevy's key fob because it's pretty intuitive overall with the use. Now here with the bed, you guys can see got liner from the factory. Now when it comes to payload and towing capacity, pretty close with both of the trucks. You're not really going to have a better tow rig with one over the other, especially for the same engine with them. So 6.2 V8 in both of them. And so that's something else to mention. And then you guys can see the Trail Boss decal there a little bit closer. Something, though, I would like to mention is I don't think you can get the max trailering package with either of the trucks. Let me know if I'm wrong in the comment section below. But that'd be cool because then you'd be able to get the upgraded axle ratio, and that would help out with off-roading, actually. So if GM doesn't offer that, they should. That would definitely be a thing. And then notice the back end. That's something very important to remember because Super similar looking. Notice the exhaust tips though here on the Trail Boss, they pop out the back. And then key fob, identical with both the trucks in terms of the functionality and with the appearance as well. You don't get like a custom ZR2 key fob or anything like that. And then you guys can see bed protection, all the same. But notice this one has the handle because it has the multi-pro tailgate. You'll see that in just a moment. And then LED lights here in the bed with an outlet. It says ZR2 in the bed, so I guess that makes it feel a little bit more custom. And here's your multi-pro setup. And then the one downside about this is, first off, 375-pound weight limit, and then it doesn't do the power up function. So if you want power up, you can't get the multi-pro. It's just too heavy. And then taillights with the trucks look identical. And then you guys can see all the badges there. And notice in chrome, kind of interesting. It's supposed to be like blacked out sporty truck. Got the bumper steps there. And then you guys get the parking sensors. Again, no exhaust tips on the back end because they're hidden underneath the truck. But look, it looks the same. Like, other than the ZR2 badge, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Now, this has like the lighter colored interior you can get with the Trail Boss. I'm still not sure how to feel about the spec on this truck because like blacked out on the outside, sporty looking, and then like cowboy themed interior. Definitely interesting, that's for sure. But got the behind the seat storage, which is pretty cool. And then this has the upgraded leather seats, and yes, those are an upgrade now. They don't come standard in the LT, so you got to pay a little bit extra because cloth seats are standard. And then you can see the cup holders, USBs, vents, all that. And then, by the way, headroom, legroom, great in the truck. And then, of course, cup holder armrest. You can never go without one of those. Now, notice the big difference with the interior, obviously, other than the coloration, is the material use. So with the ZR2, basically, Chevy made sure that everything's really easy to clean. That's kind of what they went for, and like stain resistant to an extent. And then, of course, neon stitching to make it pop a little bit more. And I think the design looks really cool, frankly, and I think these seats pop quite a bit more. They definitely, I don't know, they definitely work. Now, space in the back is going to be the same because, well, same basic truck pretty much. Notice heated seats there in the back, though. So the cab's the same and all that. So if you're looking at the trucks from a practicality standpoint, so far pretty much everything matches up identically between both of them. And then, yeah, that same two-tone design, the wood trim and everything. Just, yeah, I don't know. I think that Chevy just needs to black all of it out, because for the Trail Boss at least. Like, I can understand this in like a high country or something like that, but Trail Boss, it's a little bit strange, that is for sure. And with the front seats here, again, notice with the leather trim, I think it looks, pretty good. But I think that Chevy should do a little bit more to kind of add some pizzazz to the package. I mean, look like the Ram Rebel seats, for example. Notice we have four-wheel drive auto, high and low, so pretty good four-wheel drive system, that's for sure. And then the steering wheel itself, manually adjustable, if you guys are wondering. And yeah, I think the ZR2 interior, I think I just like it better. Seeing, the clips back to back, it just looks, I don't know, a little bit cooler, a little bit more special. And also the windows are automatic there for the front. And also memory seat functionality too, which is also another important feature. And if you guys are wondering, if you get the Bose sound system in both of them, I'm pretty sure it's the same amount of speakers with them, so it's like one's not better than the other, I suppose. And then seats power adjustable, same easy clean function. And then you guys can see same driveline select and everything. So to my knowledge, the whole four-wheel drive system is identical with both of the trucks, so you don't really get a benefit with going one over the other, so that's something else to consider. But power adjustable steering wheel with the ZR2, so that's definitely worth the extra several $1,000s that you're going to pay for the truck. And now back to the Trail Boss. First off with the steering wheel, I like how the Chevy bow tie is blacked out there in the center. Guess it kind of clashes out with the rest of the interior because the rest of the interior is kind of like Western themed. But I noticed you got like paddle shifters there in the back. You got your cruise control, heated steering wheel button. You got controls for the center in general, and then of course you got your stocks there on the back, and then full digital gauge cluster here. And this is one of the biggest improvements with the new Silverados in general, is going for the full digital gauge cluster. It just looks so much better compared to the previous version. It was very plasticky and bland. And this cool, you have the animation, and notice it actually has a Trail Boss. That's pretty cool, I think, that it shows like the Trail Boss going through the drive modes. Now, same gauge cluster here with the ZR2, but you guys probably noticed something there in the background that you'll see it again in a moment. But first off, steering wheel, it pretty much looks the same, has the same functionality on it with the paddles, the cruise control, heated steering wheel function and all that. So again, notice at this point, functionality is still the same. Now, digital gauge cluster, but notice that the truck isn't a ZR2. Now, maybe they're going to change that down the road, but that's kind of interesting that the more expensive truck doesn't have like a custom animation, right? I don't know how much the animation costs, but like, I don't know, they could have at least put, I guess, the Trail Boss instead of just like a regular looking Silverado there for the most expensive Silverado that you can buy, right? And then this is back to the Trail Boss. So 360 camera system, you can get it on the Trail Boss. And something I want to mention is a lot of these features that you see that the trucks have similar, on the Trail Boss, most of them are optional equipment, whereas on the ZR2, most of it's standard equipment. So that's another big difference between the trucks, and you know why one has a much higher base price compared to the other. And I think that GM's new infotainment system also functions great. And you guys can see here, same camera system with the ZR2. So you're not missing out with one truck or the other when it comes to the camera system, if you get the upgraded camera system right with the Trail Boss. And so again, day-to-day functionality is looking pretty similar with both of the trucks. And then you can see the infotainment system also the same as well. I do like the fact that it has Android Auto, Apple CarPlay as standard. I think that's pretty cool, so that if you don't like the GM's UI, you can just use your phone UI, which is nice. And then this is the Trail Boss. So what you guys will notice, big thing here with the tailgate, notice the raise and lower function, and then hill descent control, and then windows all rolled in at once. Notice that there was no button there for locking differentials or anything, because it has the G80 system, which is an automatic locker, basically. So you don't choose when the truck is locked, the truck chooses itself. And then you guys saw heated seats there, dual zone climate, you know, the usual. And then I like how you have an actual shifter there. And then I actually think the coloration there on the center console looks pretty good. Wireless phone charging pad, and then, as you know, tons of storage space there. And then look at the dash, that's pretty nice looking. And I like the stitching throughout. Again, makes the new Silverado feel a little bit more upscale. And then notice we have a sunroof here with the Trail Boss, then power sliding window. And then this is back with the ZR2. So you can see a lot of functionality is the same. Notice the tailgate only drops down because, again, that multi-pro. And then we have a front and a rear locking differential, and you choose when it's locked. And then you also have the one-pedal drive with the ZR2. So better off-road equipment. That's really all you need to know from that. I would always pick lockers that I can choose rather than a truck choosing it for me. And then dual zone climate, but we have air-conditioned seats in the ZR2 as well. So that's another big plus. And while I'm going over this stuff, that's pretty much the same with the trucks. I do want to talk about pricing. So that Trail Boss ticket for about $66,000. If you get a loaded up ZR2, you're like mid 70s now, roughly. So almost like a $10,000 price difference, like more like an $8,000-ish price difference. And what I'd have to say is, if you're not going to take the truck off-road, Trail Boss, if you're going to take the truck off-road, yes, the ZR2 definitely is worth it because it's more capable. Notice no sunroof, though, in that ZR2. But yeah, it's worth it if you're going to take it off-road. So that's my take. I think the Trail Boss is the one to go for most buyers that are just going to mall crawl with it and want a cool-looking truck. But for those of you that actually want to do some off-roading, the ZR2 is worth it with the equipment that Chevy gives.